Lived experience and earned resiliency have in recent years not only been identified, but valued as important personal and social capital in the journey towards healthier, safer and more resilient individuals and communities. These now deemed psychosocial assets are not only valued but lauded in many circles, and the utilisation of these now retasked past errors or painful events are redeemed for proactive and protective measures in community teaching and learning sessions. Well, that is to say, unless you're a member of the Drug Use Recovery Alumni, an ex-drug user, then, according to those holding the microphone of policy interpretation, that journey not only doesn't count, but is deemed as potentially dangerous. If you're a survivor of domestic, familial or interpersonal abuse or violence, then your recovery story matters. If you're a victim of road trauma and horrific harms caused by bad decisions of you or other drivers, then your story has merit. If you're a cancer survivor, then your journey with that disease and the lessons for better health practice and well-being, along with the strengthening of resilience in you, is celebrated. Even if you're an ex-smoker, then your journey of lived experience and earned resiliency is valuable in shifting the cultural narrative around tobacco use. However, again, if you're a recovering substance user, then your story of hurt, harm, recovery and prevention has no place, according to a certain controlling demographic who are currently determining this lived experience and earned resiliency is worse than useless. So why this cognitive dissonance and how is it justified? The lever for the rejection of this particular narrative goes something like this. Well, ex-drug users telling horror stories and using scare tactics doesn't work. While the horrendous stories of other recovering groups or survivors presenting their lessons is considered powerful pathos, those recovering substance users are merely engaging scare tactics, according to those holding the microphone of policy interpretation, and this is where some very flimsy evidence is wielded. Commentary around a clearly dysfunctional ex-drug user who may seek at worst attention, sadly, or at best a reaction in dramatically retelling a series of drug-induced horror stories is not only ineffective, but potentially counterproductive to reducing demand. This is true, we know that. This reality has been understood for several decades, but this is not what we're talking about. However, these very disappointing manifestations of poor practice in earned resilience and lived experience have been cleverly tasked by bad actors to prevent this protective educative potential of those earned resiliency educators from being used. These prohibitive injunctions aim to stop many of these brilliantly equipped educators from teaching, modelling and empowering a demand reduction and prevention-focused teaching and learning experience for the emerging generation. Every educator worth their salt fully understands that learning is not merely about information or even storytelling. However, it does include these elements, inculcating usable lessons in the lives of emerging citizens. We know from communication science that pathos, story, narratives, whatever you want to use, adds incredible weight to the education of the hearer, especially coming from lived experience and earned resiliency educators. According to facilitator Gemma Cord of Indigenous Health and Alcohol Forum, one with lived experience is seen by the client or student as an authentic knowledge holder. The lived model presenting in an education context for instruction and development is merely an example that reflects evidence-based teaching and learning subject matter lessons. It's not the lesson itself. It's only one facet of the education process, but an invaluable one in shifting culture, particularly in a substance use engaged or substance use promoting demographics. To quote Jennifer Aker, a professor of marketing at the Stanford Graduate School of Business, people remember information when it is weaved into narratives up to 22 times more than simple facts alone. The Dalgarno Institute and World Resiliency Day platform define education as learning that transforms. It is a powerful combination of awareness, information, movement, education, change, learning. Information, whilst a starting point of contemplation, giving facts in a vacuum has little traction in behaviour change. However, if you layer that with education, this is where knowledge is added, giving facts some context for application and a potential direction, but layered again with learning. This is where knowledge is applied in a sustained direction with purpose under tutelage for a specific outcome. This helps create behaviour change. Lived experience and earned resiliency harnessed by best practice education processes is a powerful culture crafting and shifting tool. And perhaps that's why the pro-drug actors in the culture don't want those who truly know the wrecking ball that is drug use to be heard. That counterculture voice harnessed to best practice evidence-based prevention and demand reduction research and education will have be a potent disruptor of the ever-growing push for drug use normalisation in our society. A disruptor that the pro-drug activists continue to foster. Kids be damned.